Qixi Festival. My wife bought me a custom-made Rolex and a brand new 4080. I thought she suddenly became generous. But then the delivery guy told me it was delivered to the wrong person. Then he turned around and handed me a men's apron that was only a penny on sale. You gave my brother-in-law a cheap apron. Isn't he going to be angry? His job is to be a stay-at-home husband, to boil water, cook, and do housework for me every day. No need to take it so seriously. You gave Ethan something so expensive. Aren't you afraid he won't be happy? He is so obedient, he won't get angry. I was stunned in place. It was hard to accept in my heart. I have been doing my best to take care of my wife's family, supporting her younger brother and sister through school, and taking care of her elderly mother. But she treated me like this. Ethan was wearing the Rolex that my wife spent a fortune customizing. He walked up to me. "Brother-in-law, what do you think of this Rolex?" he asked me. I didn't even turn my head, I just walked away after putting down the divorce agreement. My wife suddenly lost her composure at that moment. The delivery person's voice came through. "Sir, you have a package. Please sign for it. It's the Qixi Festival." I'm at home cooking for Olivia's family. Suddenly, the doorbell rang. I curiously opened the door. I saw an unopened Rolex watch. The metallic surface shone under the light. I widened my eyes in surprise. I quickly took the watch. I carefully cradled it in my hands. "This is custom made for you by Olivia. There's also a big delivery box. Please sign for it." After the delivery person finished speaking, he handed me a heavy, large box. The box had the number 4080 printed on it. I was momentarily stunned. I'm a bit anxious. My wife has never given me such an expensive and thoughtful gift on an important holiday. In the past, she either gave me an apron or a set of kitchen utensils. Otherwise, it was something useful for the house, like a trash can, plates, mop, broom, or laundry detergent. I received the box. I said to him, "Thank you." After signing for it, I put the items back in the room. Unexpectedly, Olivia's mother saw me. She curled her lips with a dissatisfied expression. She said, "What a waste of money for a Qixi Festival. You even let Olivia give you a gift. That must have cost quite a bit, right?" I didn't say a word. I just smiled wryly and shook my head. I hurried back to the room. When I opened the box, I felt both nervous and excited. Inside was a brand new set of 4080 graphics cards. It looked quite expensive. I gently touched the gift in my hands. I was a bit surprised inside. Olivia comes from an average family. She has always relied on her own efforts. Life has been quite tough. She is usually very frugal. Why has it suddenly changed this time? Not only are the gifts well presented, the quality has also improved. I took a closer look at that Rolex. I suddenly noticed a familiar little logo. It's my master's logo. Before marrying Olivia, I studied at a top design school abroad. My master is a renowned designer. She has participated in many luxury brand shows. My work also inherited her talent. Before long, I gained fame in the industry. At that time, one of my exclusive designs cost hundreds of thousands just for the sketches. The finished products were fiercely sought after by luxury brands. Just when my career was at its peak, I met Olivia at the airport. She seemed to be there to pick someone up. Because there were too many people, my suitcase was accidentally knocked over. Things scattered all over the place. She squatted down to help me pick it up. Her gaze was gentle. Her smile was warm. She reminded me, "Be careful. There are a lot of people here. You didn't get hurt, did you?" I was deeply attracted by her gentle personality. After exchanging contact information, I found an excuse to ask her out for dinner. I wanted to learn more about her life. I found that she was not only gentle, but also particularly kind. She completely meets my expectations for a partner. We quickly started dating, 2 years into our relationship, and 3 years into our marriage. I treated her almost without reservation. Although she has a bit of a strong personality at work, when we are alone together, she also shows a more feminine side. I touched the Rolex in my hand and let out a soft sigh. Just as I was about to change clothes, I heard the delivery person's voice again at the door. "Sorry, the previous delivery was sent to the wrong address. Can you return it to me?" I was startled when I heard that. How could it be sent to the wrong person? This gift was clearly prepared by Olivia. The card inside wishing a happy Qixi Festival is also in her handwriting. I opened the door with confusion. I handed the items from earlier to the courier. The courier smiled at me and said, "It was delivered by the same person. I made a mistake. This is yours." The courier handed me a wrinkled bag. The bag was crumpled. It even had a tear. It had a label from a certain mall's flash sale. It could be snatched for just 1 cent. He said, "This is Mr. Ethan's. Although you are not in the same neighborhood, the building numbers are the same. It was accidentally mixed up. I'm really sorry." It was Sophia. Courier apologized to me with a sincere expression, but I was absent-minded. I stood dazed against the door frame. Ethan is Olivia's childhood friend. He comes from a good family. The two of them went to school together since childhood, until high school. Later, Olivia's father passed away. Her mother then fell seriously ill. The family fell into decline. That's when they gradually lost contact. Before getting married, Olivia assured me they were just ordinary friends. At that time, I had some blind trust in her. On impulse, I agreed. But do ordinary friends really need to give gifts for Qixi Festival? The courier looked at me in silence. After handing over the package, he awkwardly left. After a long while, I slowly recovered from my disappointment. It felt as if my strength had been drained away. I dragged my weary body back to my room. There were still marks on the bed from the graphics card. It seemed to constantly remind me that that sweet feeling did not belong to me. I quickly opened the package. I found a pink men's apron inside. Olivia has always wanted a child, but I was unwell before. She has never been able to get pregnant, so I declined. I didn't expect her to give me an apron directly. Is she mocking me? I ask myself. I've never felt so disappointed. My palms are warm, but my heart feels cold. These two gifts are truly opposite. Just when I was feeling sad about it, Olivia's call came in. "Where are you? Hurry up. My friends are waiting anxiously." Olivia's voice sounded impatient. "It's really noisy over there. The chattering sounds are bothering my ears." I took a deep breath. I tried to calm myself down. I said slowly, "I'm almost there." Olivia didn't notice the change in my tone. She just urged me a few times. Then she hung up the phone. I tightly gripped my phone, staring at that wrinkled apron that looked like a rag. My mind was a complete mess. Regret, anger, and pain surged all at once. I really can't accept what Olivia has done. I feel the need to ask her face to face whether she truly cares for me. I quickly changed my clothes. I hurriedly rushed to the address Olivia sent me. I had just arrived at the door when I heard a woman scream and laughter from inside. I looked through the crack of the door. The floor was covered with fruit peels and scraps of paper. A group of people in the private room were having a great time. I clenched my teeth, trying not to show my anger. As soon as my hand touched the doorknob, I heard Olivia's voice, this time for the Qixi Festival. "What gift did you give your brother-in-law? I noticed he hasn't come yet. Is he dissatisfied with the gift?" How could he possibly be dissatisfied? "As long as it's from me, he likes it all," Olivia said proudly. "Take out your phone. Look, this is the men's apron I grabbed from the mall. Didn't spend a penny. It also solved the gift problem. It's simply amazing." Olivia just finished speaking. Everyone started laughing, praising her for being so smart. They also said they learned a lot from her. Someone joked. "I asked why you've been working so hard to make money lately. I thought you were buying a Rolex and a 4080 to give to your brother-in-law. Turns out it's for Ethan. Oh, you're so concerned about him. Why not just marry him?" Friends were discussing, continuously asking questions. Olivia was silent for a moment, her voice filled with helplessness. "He's the best guy in the world. I'm not good enough. I don't deserve him. He shouldn't be tied down by marriage. He shouldn't be stuck at home doing chores. He should shine brightly." Olivia's tone was gentle. "That sounds really nice. You're giving such an expensive gift to Ethan. Don't you worry that your brother-in-law will be unhappy if he finds out." Olivia smiled confidently. She said firmly, "He wouldn't dare. He can't live without me. He listens to me the most." As soon as she finished speaking, the sisters nearby started to tease her. They all urged her to share how she made her husband so devoted to her. At that moment, I felt completely frozen. It felt like something in my heart shattered instantly. I couldn't believe it. The girl who once had a sweet smile now used the most hurtful words to destroy what I thought was a sincere relationship between us. I clenched my teeth. I desperately held back my tears. My self-esteem and love at that moment were completely crushed by Olivia. There was no way to restore them. I always thought Olivia had never been in a relationship, so she didn't really understand romance. The gifts she gave weren't that great, but I have never blamed her. I even took care of her mother with all my heart. I used my savings from many years to support her younger siblings' education. I supported her in starting her business. I never expected all of this was her disguise. She just didn't want to put her heart into it with me. She just doesn't love me. My face is pale. I have never felt so powerless in my heart regarding this marriage. Regarding my sincerity towards her, it seems I already have the answer. I try to adjust my emotions. I press down on the doorknob. When I walk in, the entire room falls silent in an instant. Everyone's expressions are different. Looking at this scene, I feel a sense of irony. Someone said, "The brother-in-law is here. Quick, sit next to Olivia. We were just talking about you, and here you are." Her friends reacted first. They immediately greeted me with smiles. Olivia's eyes were filled with laughter, quietly waiting for me to come over. I forced a smile. I walked over and sat next to her. "Why did you arrive so late? Everyone has been waiting for you for a long time." I stared at her face, suddenly felt a wave of discomfort. She said, "There was traffic on the way. I didn't expect Qixi to be so lively, so many people celebrating together." I smiled slightly. There was a hint of sarcasm in my words. Who would go to a KTV to kill time on Qixi? It's all smoky inside. It's really uncomfortable. What's wrong with you today? Are you unhappy? Olivia has never heard me speak so firmly. She frowned slightly, calmly asked, "Don't you like the gift?" I shuddered, struggling to hold back the anger inside. I turned my head and smiled as I replied, "I like it. I just don't understand what you mean by giving it to her." Olivia didn't catch the meaning of my words, and she was still smugly talking about it. "Of course, I want you to feel at ease cooking at home. That way, our family can be more harmonious." Who said I wanted to reconcile with you? I'm so angry that my brows are twitching. I deliberately turned my head to calm down. "Jason, are you throwing a tantrum at me? Why are you being so cold to me?" Olivia frowned in dissatisfaction. She doesn't know that I've already seen those 2 gifts. And I didn't expect the courier to make a mistake, so she's feeling quite unhappy with my attitude. How could I be sulking with you? I just feel that things are progressing too quickly. Your pressure on me is a bit overwhelming. I forced a smile. Olivia finally showed a satisfied smile. She gently caressed my face and said softly, "It's okay, I believe." She hadn't finished her words yet. The KTV door was pushed open once again. Ethan walked in. He wore a brand new Rolex on his wrist. His golden hair exuded confidence. His leather shoes made a crisp sound on the floor. His presence immediately attracted everyone's attention. That watch was painfully bright to my eyes. It seemed to constantly remind me of everything Olivia had just said. "Ethan, what are you doing here?" Olivia didn't expect him to come. He gently pushed me aside. With bright eyes, she looked at him on such an important day. "How could I not come?" Ethan spoke with an ambiguous tone. He said something vague. Then he crossed through the crowd. He sat down next to Olivia. As soon as he sat down, the people around looked at each other. No one dared to speak. To them, this scene was indeed quite amusing. This scene is indeed quite amusing. I'm wearing a yellow t-shirt. I also didn't shave properly before coming out. Ethan is young and energetic. He stands up straight. Olivia is sitting between us. It makes the whole scene more comical. Your brother-in-law is here too. I thought it was just you and your friends. Ethan looks at me with a smile, but there is no smile in his eyes. His gaze scrutinizes me. He said, "So it's you. I've heard your name for a long time. Today I finally see you, just as I imagined." I smiled politely. I didn't pay much attention to him. Ethan noticed that I didn't look angry, disappointed, or sad. His lips twitched twice. Reluctantly, he continued, "It's normal for you to have heard of me. After all, I've known Olivia for many years. We're so close that everyone thinks we are a couple. Don't mind it, brother-in-law." Ethan placed his hand on Olivia's shoulder with a provocative smile. I didn't even lift my head. I pretended not to see. At this moment, someone reminded me, "Ethan is talking to you. What kind of attitude is that? Do you understand manners?" Olivia gently tapped my shoulder. She whispered, "Are you feeling jealous? He's just an ordinary friend of mine." I smiled faintly. I shook my head. To her, I don't have any feelings for him anymore, so I don't care about her actions. It's better not to look at it. Ethan said to me with a confident smile, "Brother-in-law, what do you think of my Rolex?" I was taken aback. I understood her intention. Actually, I had known all along that this was a gift from Olivia to her. I said, "Your skin tone isn't fair. Gold doesn't suit you, it makes you look a bit older. You're tall, but your figure is a bit slim. Wearing this watch doesn't seem very mature. Your face shape is quite petite. Pairing it with a pearl strap seems a bit too complicated. The overall style is not generous enough." The entire process. I didn't even raise an eyebrow. As someone with a few years of design experience, I could tell at a glance that Ethan was not suited for this watch. Since he wanted to hear my opinion, I just said it directly. Ethan's face turned pale and flushed with anger. His hands were trembling. He tightly grasped Olivia's sleeve. "Can you please speak properly? What's wrong with Ethan wearing this watch? It's really disappointing." Quickly apologized to him. Olivia is angry. She was staring at me with a not-so-pleasant expression. "He was the one who asked me if this watch looked good. He can't handle the truth. I won't lie." I specifically emphasized the last few words, looking at Olivia with a hint of a smile. Ethan shook Olivia's arm. He said in a spoiled tone, "It's okay. It's normal that my brother-in-law doesn't like me. After all, like repels like, opposites attract. Let me continue." Furthermore, I paused for a moment. Then I changed the topic. "The person who gave you this watch has poor taste. This is an old model from a few years ago. They even brought it out to give to you. It seems they really didn't put much thought into it." I pretended to know nothing. I shook my head in regret. This sentence immediately angered Ethan. His face instantly fell. "What do you know, you who just cooks at home? Hurry back and take care of my mom." Olivia was worried Ethan was angry. She quickly scolded me loudly. I was just speaking the truth. I didn't understand why she was so upset. I looked at her in confusion. Then I asked Ethan, "Is the person who gave you this watch your girlfriend? It seems you really don't have any feelings for me. You only point out my shortcomings." "It's really disappointing." Ethan remained silent, but his hand was trembling slightly from anger. He let out a cold grunt. He quickly left the private room in leather shoes. Olivia saw this scene. She immediately followed, watching this farce. I felt utterly exhausted. I silently followed them out. Back at home, I saw the house in disarray. There were still unwashed dishes in the kitchen. Then I thought about the men's apron on the bed. I completely broke down. I locked myself in my room. I weakly lay on the bed. "Brother-in-law, when are you going to buy me a phone? Everyone else has one." "Brother-in-law, we've got new materials in high school again. Can you give me some more pocket money? Why did you come back so late? I usually drink porridge before bed. I'm almost starving. The noise at home is driving me crazy. The younger siblings are making a fuss. My mother-in-law is also very fierce. Home feels like a bottomless pit. It feels like it's going to swallow me whole. Even my last bit of sincerity has completely disappeared tonight. All of this is because of Olivia." I quietly made a resolution. Olivia came home late at night. She was a bit drunk. As soon as she walked in, she started questioning me. "My brother wants to buy a phone. Why don't you buy it for him? And what about mom's medical expenses? Didn't I already transfer that to you? Why didn't you get her the medicine?" That's what she said. Olivia reached out to grab me. I immediately dodged. I said coldly, "I'm not your servant. Why am I the only one doing these things?" My tone was filled with dissatisfaction. "You are my husband. You should listen to me. You used to be very obedient. What happened now? Did Ethan make you angry?" Olivia staggered over. She held onto my shoulder. "Don't be angry anymore. I'll buy you a set of 4080 graphics cards. That should be acceptable." That's what I said. Olivia brought in a box of 4080 equipment from the doorway. "It's the set from this afternoon. It's just been unsealed." There are quite a few scratches on it. I couldn't help but feel self-deprecating. Even the second gift after our marriage is something someone else didn't want. And it's given to me. One doesn't need to think to know. This must be because Ethan got angry. She didn't give it away. She brought it back for me. I looked at Olivia. I couldn't help but ask, Olivia, have you ever loved me? I calmly asked this question. She seemed taken aback. Love, how could I not love you? You've done so much for me. Of course I love you. But what if I don't want to? I don't want to bear the tuition fees for your younger siblings anymore. I don't want to take care of your mother anymore. I also don't want to do housework for your whole family and pay for it. I want to be a responsible man. Do you still love me? I'm closing in step by step, pointing at her shoulder. He asked angrily, are you having issues? Olivia shook off my hand. Say it. These are your responsibilities. You are my husband. These things you must do. I'm working hard to earn money outside. Isn't it your duty to do these things? Really? Then use your hard-earned money to support your whole family. From today on, I won't spend a single penny. Hiring a servant costs at least $5,000 a month. I shouted loudly. The sound was particularly clear in the quiet night. What are you talking about? I didn't expect you to be so concerned about face. Haven't I ever bought you anything? As if I'm after your money. Olivia was yelled at loudly by me. It's hard to keep a straight face. Immediately rebut me. I was so angry I laughed. Think carefully. What kind of gifts are these? How can you still call them gifts? I've truly never met anyone like you. I was so angry I nearly ground my teeth. Olivia was completely furious. She raised her hand to slap me, but I pushed her down to the ground first. I stood in front of her, looking at her coldly. I said one calm sentence. It was especially clear in the silent night. Olivia, let's get a divorce. This sentence snapped her back to reality. She couldn't help but laugh immediately. Stop messing around. You can't live without me at all. There was sarcasm in her eyes. Then she stood up. She reached out to hug me. I know you're upset about me and Ethan. I won't contact him anymore. Is that okay? How can you treat divorce as a joke? I frowned. I blocked her hand. I'm serious. I don't want to continue this marriage anymore, and I don't want to be treated like a servant by you. Jason, I've been patiently advising you don't go too far. I can overlook your offense towards Ethan today, but don't act unreasonable anymore. Olivia lost her patience. She pointed at my nose and said, I will send you the divorce agreement, no matter if you agree or not. I don't want to live with you anymore. I've grown too tired to argue with her. Seeing her angry just makes me laugh. Stop acting. Isn't this just your little trick to keep me? From now on, I'll give you more money. Will that work? If you need money, just say it directly. Why go through all this? Are you trying to embarrass me in front of friends and Ethan? Olivia scoffed. The corner of my eye twitched slightly. A look of disappointment appeared on her face. I thought you truly loved me, but it was for money after all. How did I never notice how concerned you are about your image? Or maybe I've been too lenient with you. You treat me well. I was so angry that I laughed. I truly never realized how good you are at pretending. You know I got angry when I needed to buy equipment. So what were those gifts you gave me before? That was your true love for me. My words left Olivia stunned. Her gaze became complicated. It seemed like she was pondering something. I said, I don't want to argue with you. Calm down for a moment. Tomorrow, go pay the medical bills for Mom and buy my brother a phone. Remember to cook well. I'll be back to eat tomorrow. Olivia tugged at her clothes. She tiredly rubbed her forehead. She issued commands to me like a servant. I let out a cold laugh. I picked up my things and walked towards the study. Now, just being in the same room with her makes me uncomfortable. I feel uneasy inside. Jason, what time is it now? It's early in the morning. My mother-in-law is lying in bed yelling loudly. Why hasn't breakfast been made yet? She looks very angry. She directly questioned me. I didn't sleep well last night. I just turned over after hearing that shout. I didn't pay much attention. I had just put on my headphones. When Olivia's call came in, I got up impatiently to answer. I didn't expect her to start with a stern reprimand. What are you doing? Your mom is already hungry. Why haven't you made breakfast yet? Why didn't you take your younger siblings to school? Don't you know today is Monday? What's wrong with Monday? I don't have to go to work or school. Why wake up so early? I asked her with a smile. She seemed surprised that I would insist so much. Olivia's tone suddenly turned cold. She spoke in a suppressed voice. If you keep making a scene, I'm going to get angry. Hurry up and take care of what needs to be done. We can talk about it when I come back tonight. No need. I won't do these things anymore. You should sign the divorce agreement. Let's part on good terms. After saying that, I stood up to go to the room to get the suitcase. My mother-in-law kept shouting at me from the bed. I ignored her. She said, "Are you really going to divorce me? Think it through. This is not a joke." "Yes, I've made up my mind." Olivia angrily slapped the steering wheel. She said through gritted teeth, "You really think this can threaten me? Don't hold your breath. Without me, you're nothing. No one will want you. No one will want you. Look at yourself. Your hair is a mess. The clothes are not tidy either. What's the difference with a servant? How about I pay you to be my servant? What do you think?" Olivia's tone is getting weirder. It's filled with sarcasm and indifference. She completely disregards me. She said, "Don't talk to me about this. I've decided to get a divorce. Don't drag your feet anymore. I'm holding back my anger." Warn her. "All right, you're really something. I'm curious to see. What will you do without me? Don't regret coming to find me later." Olivia angrily hung up the phone. Not long after, she sent a document stating that she agrees to the divorce. I carefully read the divorce agreement. I found that Olivia added several conditions. For example, she requires me to return the money she spent, and I'm not allowed to take any belongings from the house. I find it ridiculous. There are already very few things in this house that belong to me. The things she gave me have no value to me. I also don't want to take them with me. As for the money she spent on me, it's not even a quarter of what I contributed. The more I think about it, the sadder I feel. It turns out it's so easy to be disappointed in someone. After packing my things, I was ready to leave with my suitcase. But my mother-in-law suddenly stopped me. Without saying a word, she slapped me. "How dare you want to divorce Olivia? You really have some nerve. If you leave, who will take care of me? Who will take care of these 2 kids at home? How can you be so inconsiderate of others?" I bit my lip tightly. I held back the impulse to retaliate. With a determined look, I said, "Whoever wants to take care of them can do so. I have no relationship with your family anymore. Don't think you can bully me again." I'm truly speechless. Who do you think you are? You're acting all high and mighty in our house. It's been 3 years. You haven't even left a child for Olivia. How can you be so self-righteous? Hurry up and wash the clothes. The meal is ready. Do what you're supposed to do. My mother-in-law snatched my suitcase away. Her gaze was stern, her tone was sharp. She kept urging me. I said coldly, "I think you have mistaken something. I am no longer Olivia's husband. These matters are not my concern anyway. Moreover, not now. If you stop me from leaving again, I will call the police." Upon hearing that I would call the police, my mother-in-law's expression immediately changed. She glared at me fiercely. Clearly, she didn't want me to leave. After all, if I leave, who will do the free housework for them? Who will spend money on them? I grabbed the suitcase and left without hesitation. After leaving Olivia, the first thing I did was to find a new job. I was supposed to have a great career development, but I was tricked into being a stay-at-home husband for 3 years. I took a deep breath. I dialed my former teacher's number. "Hello, Jason, is that you?" The teacher called out to me warmly. I felt a lump in my throat. I suddenly felt a little wronged inside. He is my teacher. I got divorced. I took a deep breath. "I want to interview at your design company." The teacher was silent for a few seconds. Then he said happily, "That's great. I always believed you shouldn't be bound by family and the kitchen. You are naturally suited to be a designer." I didn't expect the teacher to trust me so much. Suddenly, tears streamed down my face, sitting by the bus stop. I couldn't help but tremble and cry, "Thank you, teacher. I will definitely seize this opportunity. I won't give up midway again." I choked on my words. Hope gradually lit up in my eyes. "Come by next week. Let me see if you've made any progress," the teacher said to me with a smile. Her warm voice dispelled the gloom in my heart. I felt it was time for a fresh start. I haven't engaged with fashion for too long. In the following week, I stayed in the rented apartment, intensively brushing up on fashion knowledge. In the end, I created a piece I was very satisfied with. Even the teacher praised my high talent. To be able to produce such a perfect draft after so long away from it, my work has also stabilized. I became a designer at a renowned design company. I had just started not long ago, and many brands began to approach me for collaboration. Most of them had seen my previous works. They had high hopes for me. My life finally returned to the right track. After receiving my first paycheck, I moved out of the small rental. I bought an apartment in the city center. While moving, I accidentally found Olivia's passport. It was the one I helped her with back then, since we no longer have any ties. Then let the item return to its rightful owner. I've arrived at the bottom of Olivia's building. I originally planned to leave the items with the doorman and leave, but I saw Olivia and Ethan arguing. Ethan said, "How can you be so heartless? I was so good to you. You actually want to get engaged to someone else." Olivia's voice trembled. She questioned Ethan with resentment. "Don't dream. You think I would marry you first. Take a look at your own situation. You think my parents would accept you. Your mother is in poor health, and you have younger siblings to take care of. Your family has no background or financial resources. Why would I choose to marry you?" Ethan crossed his arms. He lifted his chin. He looked at her with disdain. "Ethan, then what does my sincerity count for? I left my husband for you, but you treated me like this. Turning around, you got engaged to someone else. I can't bear to let you become a live-in son-in-law. I don't want you to be stuck in the kitchen all day and become a house husband, but you can't let down my sincere feelings like this." Olivia tightly grasped his shoulders. Her eyes were red. Her face was filled with anger, resentment, and disappointment. She looked like she was about to break down. She said, "You are the one pushing your husband away. What does that have to do with me? It's your own problem. Besides, he can give me a better life. Can you? If you truly love me, you should wish for my happiness, right?" Ethan shrugged. He shot her a cold glance, then shook off her hand. "Enough, your conditions. You have no money, and you have a child. Only your ex-husband can tolerate you. Don't come looking for me again. Let's leave it at that. I gave you the engagement invitation. It's up to you whether you come or not. I'm not forcing you." Ethan makes it sound easy. It seems like their feelings for each other are just a joke. I can't help but sigh. Those who betray others' sincere feelings. Ultimately, there will be no good outcome. I left Olivia's passport with the security guard. I don't want to see how this argument ends. She turned around and left. "I just got home not long ago. Olivia messaged me. She said, 'Jason, I'm sorry. I regret not cherishing you properly. I won't contact Ethan anymore. Can you meet me? I really miss you.'" Seeing her late, heartfelt confession. "I only feel pity and ridicule. Only after being dumped did I realize my worth. It's already too late." I directly blocked and deleted her, completely drove her out of my life. After that, no matter how many numbers Olivia changes to harass me, ask for my forgiveness, trying to win me back, I ignored it all, focusing on preparing for my grand finale show. This show is an invitation from a well-known design brand. I must give it my all. I can't let my teacher down, and I can't disappoint my partners. After submitting the final design draft, I breathed a sigh of relief. Olivia is still sending messages on text. "Jason, I really know I was wrong. I'm begging you to forgive me. Don't leave me. Your younger siblings miss you. When are you coming back? I miss you too. I love you. Don't ignore me, okay? Give me a chance to make it up to you, will you?" Looking at these heartfelt messages, I remembered what she said in the KTV private room, and that men's apron that sold out in seconds at the mall. Suddenly, I felt a wave of nausea, forcing myself to delete these messages despite the disgust. A week later, the grand show is held as scheduled. The models showcase my carefully designed outfits on the runway. I observe from the monitor backstage. Suddenly, I caught sight of Olivia in the frame. I didn't expect her small company would be invited to the industry show, since she wants to see me so much. I'll let her see well today, how well I've been doing since leaving her. Now, let us invite the designer of this finale show, Mr. Jason, at the final curtain call. I stand under countless shining lights, wearing a well-fitted suit. I walk to the center of the stage. This scene is more grand than my wedding. I clearly saw the surprise in Olivia's eyes. Her gaze was fixed on me. Her eyes were filled with anticipation and desire. However, I didn't look at her for too long. I confidently walked to the center of the stage. I picked up the microphone and said, "Thank you very much to the brand for inviting me to do this finale show. The theme of this event is rebirth, no matter what we went through in the past. I hope everyone has the confidence to start anew, have the courage to embrace a new life. In the future, I will create better works, not to disappoint everyone's expectations. I now carry myself with elegance, graceful and poised. I'm no longer that disheveled, unkempt house husband. This feels like a rebirth for me, Jason. Jason, the big show has just ended." Olivia chased me to the backstage lounge. She grabbed my wrist tightly. Her voice was a bit hoarse. "I'm sorry." Her eyes were full of regret. "I was in the wrong before. I shouldn't have treated you that way. I shouldn't have taken you for granted. Please forgive me. Come back to me, okay?" I smiled coldly. My gaze was sharp, with sharp eyes. He shook off her hand and said, "Don't think about it. There's no possibility for us anymore. Just go. Otherwise, I'll call security. You can curse at me if you want. You can hit me if you want, as long as you still think of me and are willing to give me a chance. I'm willing to do anything for you." Olivia is unwilling to give up. She doesn't believe that our feelings are gone just like that. She is still trying to salvage it. "All right, then you can leave." I crossed my arms. I raised my eyebrows. I smiled and said to her, "Disappear from my sight. Please don't cling to me anymore. This is what I mean." Olivia looked at Jason with deep affection. She said firmly, "I don't want anyone else. I only love you. I will never leave you. You are the only husband I acknowledge." As she spoke, she gently placed her hand on her heart. Her eyes were filled with sincere emotion. "Who is your husband? I think he looks more like your servant. Doesn't he help you with laundry and cooking all day like some kind of tool?" I looked at her with a hint of a cold smile. There was no longer any hatred in my gaze, only sarcasm. "Think carefully about what you've done to me. Which of those didn't hurt me? Which of those didn't drain me? When you were with me, did you really care about me?" I grabbed her chin. There was a hint of displeasure in my gaze. "Or let me rephrase that. You gave me a cheap men's apron, but bought Ethan a Rolex worth millions and a brand new 4080 watch. What are you really thinking?" Olivia's eyes widened in surprise. In that moment, I saw shock, sadness, and regret in her eyes. "How did you know?" She lowered her head. Her tone was dejected. "No wonder you suddenly mentioned divorce. You've been so cold to me. So it was because of that gift." "It's not because of the gift." I let out a cold laugh. "She still hasn't realized where she went wrong. I used to think you had never been in a relationship, so you wouldn't give gifts. That's why I accepted all those inappropriate gifts from you. This time I finally understand. You actually can be thoughtful. It's just that your thoughtfulness wasn't directed at me. I hate you, because you made me waste 3 years. I ran around for you like a fool. And in the end, all I got was heartbreak and disappointment. I'm sorry." Olivia tightly grasped my hand and forcefully slapped her own face. "Just kill me. I really can't live without you. Now I understand that you are the best. I was wrong. I didn't know how to cherish it. Olivia, let go of me." I shouted loudly. I broke free from her grasp. "Your priority now is to make money. Think carefully about how to support your younger siblings and your mother. Don't sit here thinking about hurting yourself to seek my forgiveness. What you're doing only makes me feel disgusted. I feel uncomfortable inside." Olivia's tears streamed down her face. She tightly closed her eyes. She looked very pained. She said, "You can't be so heartless. Just leave me like this." I shook my head. I said coldly, "It's you who is too heartless. It's you who ruined us. It's already over between us. I will never forgive you in this lifetime, Jason." "I don't believe it." She suddenly opened her eyes. She tightly grasped my wrist and said, "You can only be with me in this lifetime. Come home with me. Let's remarry. I love you, you love me too. This is an unchangeable fact." Olivia excitedly pulled me outside. I struggled to break free from her. I called for security loudly. She shouted, "What do you want? I am his wife. Let me go quickly." Olivia was held down by the security. She was still struggling hard. "Olivia, I have no feelings for you anymore, and I don't hate you. You are no longer important to me. leave my life. Otherwise, I won't be polite. I rubbed my wrist, watching Olivia being taken away by security. Her face was filled with despair. Since then, she never came to find me again. I haven't heard from her in a long time. Later, I heard that her company went bankrupt. To support her family, she had to work hard. However, is she doing well? It doesn't matter to me anymore. I just treat it as a story to listen to casually. My career is getting better and better. In less than a year, I became the exclusive designer for a well-known brand. My worth has reached tens of millions. Life is incredibly glamorous. It's eye-catching. Just like my grand finale show, I have embraced a brand new life.